guys, it's Drucilla Mercedes back again with another YouTube posting. Go ahead on, like, comment, and subscribe to this video so I can give you guys more future content in the future. So let's get right on into the video. Thank you guys for clicking on this video. Now, by the title of this, you already know what this video is going to be based about. I actually came across a series on Netflix titled When They See Us. Now, this story, if you're not familiar, is based off of Central Park 5 of 5 young men who were wrongfully convicted for 7 years. So I want to get into it now. If this video would definitely have spoilers in them, I'm going to basically tell different parts of the series and different parts of the show that actually showed. So if you haven't watched that series as of yet, I want you guys to stop this video now and go check that out right now. It's really good. You're gonna definitely see the injustice, definitely what goes on in America today. So definitely pause this video or stop it and watch that video, and definitely come back to this video, you guys. So let's get right into it. All of these young men were 16 and under. Now, within the interrogation process, these men were interrogated alone. They were basically walking through a park at night. They had witnesses to say that they were actually mugging people, harassing people within the park. But those young men were actually just getting out the house. Once they see a crowd, they just want to hang out with, the fellas and just, get out the house. They're just what young people do nowadays. Back in those days also too. So within this process, the police were called. Police responded to the call, stating that people were inside of the park mugging people. So when they responded to the call, immediately within the first part of the show, you actually see them running behind the young men, slamming them down. Now, the arrest process of these young men were so foul. I don't understand how grown police officers see young innocent boys just walking and minding their business, and all of a sudden you come attacking them, pushing them to the ground, throwing their head into the concrete, and it was disgusting. I can definitely say that. It was definitely disgusting. There should be a better policy as in now. It could definitely relate to now. That's crazy how it can relate to now, because the way they police and the way they arrest young adults as in today's time is the same exact process. They're more aggressive when it comes to black males. So definitely, you guys, we're going to get right on into that. So I definitely want to give you guys that background of how that actually came about. Now, within the process of the interrogation, once they had those teens there, they had those 5 boys there, they started interrogating them. Now, I got my notes off to the side, you guys, because I want to make this as, to the point as possible, but at the same time, letting you guys know exactly what went on and what I found in my perspective of this show. They interviewed these young males. No adults, no attorneys, no one was called within these situations. They had all these young males in a room. They didn't contact their parents. They didn't contact any, any supervision or anything. They waited until the interrogation process actually started. That's when they actually contacted the parents to let them know, hey, your child is actually here, after so many amount of hours for them sitting there without their parents even knowing where they were. Now, I got my notes off to the side again, you guys. So when they interviewed them, when the adults weren't there, these children were beaten. They were told to lie. They were intimidated within the interrogation process. And I know there are some techniques that detectives use as in now to, get people to spill the truth. But for those boys to be convicted of something that wasn't even related to them was absurd. I can definitely say that. Now, once the family did come into the picture, now those families were told different stories as in regards to why they were actually there. Now, the family was intimidated. They actually intimidated the family to have their children tell lies to cover their ass and, excuse my language, to cover them. And the family had to go along with it. Back in those times, family didn't have enough money. Black families didn't have enough money to support their own. So they had to do what the police are saying because, that's law. That's word of, their word of law. So they have to go with whatever the police is telling them. So if you say, I know a lot of people say they would respond different in that situation if the police would have came to them and tried to intimidate them about their job. Like, one of the scenes actually showed a police officer or a detective talking to the father of one of the children and saying, oh, well, don't you have this job? Wouldn't it be crazy if your job found out about your past? And, you know, kind of intimidating them to where, you know, I can get you to a point to where you can lose your livelihood and you can lose your job, which was, it was crazy. So that was the first part within this video. First part of this episode. Now, they did mention the jogger, the woman jogger. Now, no statement from this woman was given as of yet. She didn't say how many people she seen attack her within this first part. She didn't say the color of the people. She didn't say anything. She didn't say the vicinity of where the attack probably happened, and none of this. This lady was on her deathbed. She couldn't speak. She couldn't do anything. So for them to jump to the conclusion of, oh, it was these boys that night when they didn't even have the word of mouth from the actual victim, it kind of goes against, you know, guilty until proven innocent, obviously, because that's what they go through now. You're guilty until proven innocent, as in the court system now. Now, the word that they first used in the first part of it was wilding. I kept seeing this word reappear constantly throughout the first part of the movie. Wilding. They were wilding. I kept hearing that, and the first thing I go to is animals. Like, when you think of animals, you think, oh, they're the wild, they can't be controlled. It's a lot of that what came through my mind, of my perspective, when I first kept hearing that word reappear. And then actually in one part, Miss Linda, she actually came in and she said, I don't really know her, that Fairstein, I think. Linda Fairstein, I think that's her name. Now, if I'm not correct, you guys, please put it in the comments. You know, I love having them open discussions, and, you know, I make sure I have those names actually correct. But I just know my first name, which is Linda. She actually asked the detective or the police officer that actually wrote the report and said, what is wilding? What does that mean? So the first thing, of course, she's probably thinking the same thing I'm thinking. Oh, they can't be controlled. When you found them, they were just wild, out of control. And that was the first thing I thought of. The first thing that she probably actually had perspective of when she first heard about these men. These young boys, actually not men yet, they were young boys under the age of 16. They weren't even 18, they were under the age of 16, so they were young boys in the park that night. Now, we go into the second portion of the video. Whew. Now, within the second portion, y'all just don't understand. Like, it was so many things, like, y'all don't understand. Okay, so the first part I discussed about Trump. I'm going to save Trump for last. Let's see here. Now, at this portion, that's when they have their attorneys come in. Every individual of the young boys that were on trial for this case actually had separate attorneys. They wanted to give the opportunity to drive the lawyers. Now, they said it was one thing that gets attorneys involved in big cases like these, and the number one thing is opportunity. What can attorneys actually gain within this situation? It don't matter if the person goes to jail. It doesn't matter if the person is innocent, guilty, if anything. They want opportunity. And that really hit, because it's like, dang, are these attorneys really here for us? Like, you pay these attorneys all these money to make sure your case is being heard and you're being more productive when it comes to your case. But at the end of the day, these attorneys, no matter if it's good or bad, they want opportunity out of the situation and what they're gonna gain out of your situation. So that was a top thing that kind of clicked to me when I first saw it. Once they went into separate trials, those attorneys sat down. Now, each person had a specific case that went with theirs. So they had 2 boys on different case and 3 boys on another case. And each attorney had to be in defense of those men within those trial errors. Now, if you do separate trials, sometimes it works for the good, sometimes it works for the bad. And in this case, I feel like they should have all just stuck together and had the same story. Because if you go separate, all defense isn't covered. So if that trial is over there, I understand that each trial is separate. So, okay, so they're going to defend this case with this person, but defend this case with this person. But everything needs to be coincide and everything needs to come together, because that's how the pieces actually work out. Now, if you separate those things, someone can say this and someone can say that, but at the same time, it can be something different. So that's why I feel a separate trial in this case wasn't too good of a case, because I felt like they definitely should have stuck together within this case. Now, when they first started doing it, they had a bunch of things that didn't add up to me. They said the semen didn't match. DNA wasn't there in regards to the boys. They had no eyewitnesses in regards to the attack of the woman. So for the jury to jump into, I feel this is this, but the evidence wasn't there against these young men. Now, this is what I feel where it came in at. When they had finally, the jogger lady, she finally came about. She was able to, speak her truth. What actually happened to her. She can testify on herself what actually happened to her. Now, when they showed this lady walking into the courtroom, when I tell you guys, it was the most dramatic walk-in ever. Like, it was so quiet you can hear a pin drop. Like, it was just that quiet. So immediately, once everyone saw her, once the jury saw her, once the judge saw her, immediate sympathy. Immediately. Before her walk-in, they had a strong case because DNA didn't match. No eyewitnesses. The semen, actually, when she was raped, didn't match. Nothing matched for them. But as soon as they saw her, was immediate sympathy, and all the evidence, all the naysayer, all the, this is the evidence, this is what you guys don't have, went out the window once they saw her. Now, when she got on the stand, she had this is what I took from it. She had no remembrance of the park incident. Now, she states the only thing she can obviously remember was what she was wearing that day. Now, I don't know, like, she said all her medical issues and all that, like, she can't see out of one eye, she has to walk with a cane, spine, it was a bunch of things that were actually wrong with her, but her memory during that night, she's saying she doesn't remember jogging to the, now that was the specific word, she didn't remember jogging to the park, but she could remember what she wore that day. So I was kind of withdrawn from that also. It's like, okay, you don't remember going to the park, but you remember what you wore to the park when you ran that night. So that would kind of, threw me off. And she knew the exact color of the clothes before it was red. Like, the way the attorney showed the clothes to her, like, she said, okay, do you remember this? Do you remember what this was? And she said, oh, yes, that was the shirt I was wearing. And they was like, okay, well, what colors was this shirt before? And she was like, before that, it was white. Like, now the color is about as black as this. And the whole thing was black. But she stated it was white. But, okay, but you can remember the color some odd months ago, but you can remember going to the park or jogging that night at the park. But you can only remember somebody hitting you in the back. So it was kind of iffy. Like, you can remember something, but something happened before. You can remember that. So that was kind of iffy to me. Now, when the police got on the stand, none of their stories matched. Literally, none of their stories matched. Even when they tried to talk about the tapes were even off. They tried to victimize them by bringing in the tapes. But at the same time, I'm so sorry, y'all. I don't know how this came on. Look, and they're just laughing. No, sir. I'm going to need you to stop. Like, rude. What the? Oh, no. We got to turn you off. There we go. Like, rude much? But I'm sorry, you guys. But the only thing that the police could bring about was trying to victimize them by bringing their confession tapes in. That was the only thing that could criminalize them within that case. Now, they had a strong case by saying, were they coerced into these situations where they promised anything, or and they were promised, they were promised they could leave, they were promised all these things, but it wasn't really in actuality. They wanted them to get those confessions on tape to have something to hide, to have something over them, which was not the case. Like, I just don't get it. Like, you guys, like, I really gave you guys the first and the second part of the series, but if you're going on and watch the third, and I think there's a fourth also, if I'm not correct, there's a fourth, I want you guys to go on and stop and watch those. Like, I really want you guys to go and stop and watch those. Like, and the rest of them was basically them trying to get back into society once being released, and one by one they had to go to different things once being released, and people had to change their, like, one of them changed their name because they didn't want to be recognizable, and they were starting a family. They couldn't even, like, most of them were so hooked on what was going on, they couldn't even start a family. It basically messed with their livelihood. So the I think it's the third and the fourth part was basically going into them, you know, getting back into society, and basically things coming into intuition. And when it came to the guy actually coming forward, they actually showed that the guy coming forward, like, and it was one scene where Corey was on the play yard, and you know they call that the grounds, you know, where they go out, they exercise and everything on the when they're in the system. And one of the guys he got into a fight with earlier, like, I don't want to tell it too much, like, I really want you guys to go watch it, but me, I'm the type of person, like, I watch things, but then I pick at certain things that I see. And then with some of those parts, like, it was crazy. The same guy that came forward was the same guy he got into a fight with about a TV. That was the same guy. So it was crazy how and then he come forward and he says, oh, Corey, you have faith, and Corey looking like, well, what are you talking about? He was like, well, you could have been got out. You could have just admitted to it. And that was the thing, too, about the justice system. They wanted him to admit guilt in order for him to be released. And every time Corey went in, he always said, oh, I didn't do it. Every time. And he kept his faith. That's the thing about faith, baby. That's the thing about faith. He kept his faith throughout the entire situation, that he don't even know how much longer he didn't know if he was going to be in there till he was going to die. He didn't know, but he kept his faith and said, I'm innocent. I'm innocent. And every time they would turn him around and say, okay, well, you haven't admitted guilt yet. That's the only way we can process you out and, you know, get you out of here on probation and everything. He admitted there was no guilt within his situation. And that was the thing about all of these young boys. And I commend all of them, because in their situation, none of them have committed guilt. They knew they were innocent. They knew time would come and time would reveal all, and it did. It revealed everything. It revealed the justice system. It revealed all those people that are in office. And that's another thing I want you guys to do. When I tell you, like, a lot of people always say my vote doesn't count. You guys have to be accountable when it comes to the decisions that are being made as of now. When it comes to your livelihood, those decisions are being made by somebody else. So why not have the position to put someone in that position to make sure your livelihood is going to be well, or your future is going to be well, and your future kids are going to live well? You should take that accountability to vote. You should vote for those people that are in place that commended these detectives and these lawyers and these attorneys and these prosecutors to go against these young boys that didn't have anything to do with the case, that wasn't even there. They weren't even around in that vicinity of this attack. They went with it. And that's why I'm going to go into Trump. You guys sat here and voted for the man when all of the facts came out about him. He wanted the death penalty for innocent boys. Innocent boys. He wanted the death penalty for innocent boys. Come on. And you guys are going to give him that again? You trust for, and it doesn't matter black, white, anything, but this is a race issue. It is a race issue. But you telling me that if your child or anything knew that they were wrong, you knew that the situation they weren't involved in, and someone tells you, or you read in the newspaper how you want someone wants them killed when you know they're innocent? How would that make you feel? Just as a mother, as a father, as a sister, as a brother, as a aunt, as a uncle, period. How would that make you feel? I just don't understand it, how this man is still in office. He constantly is barbarian of the American life. Is this what it means to be an American? Is this what that means? I don't want any parts. If this is what that means, this is what it means to be an American. Now I want to go into the title of When They See Us. Let me give you this question. What do they see? What do they see when they see us? Of course, animals. Goes back to black people, right? Oh, they're mediocre people. They're gonna go with whatever. Guys, we gotta wake up. As a whole, we gotta wake up. Not just us black, African American, but as a whole, we all gotta wake up. Now, I came across also a video of Trump response of the Central Park 5 within his regards. And this is what he had to say.
April. Mr. President, will you apologize to Central Park 5? They've been exonerated. There have been videos and movies shown about the case, and you came out with a full-page ad saying that they should die. They're facing the death penalty.
Why do you bring that question up now? It's an interesting time to bring it up. You have people on both sides of that. They admitted their guilt. If you look at Linda Fairstein and if you look at some of the prosecutors, they think that the city should never have settled that case. So we'll leave it at that.
He's your president. Thank you, guys. It is Drucilla Mercedes again. Bring you another video. Now, you guys, this is a very passionate subject, and I want you guys to let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Please give me your feedback. Please tell me what should change, what should, definitely within this system, you guys, because this was a mess. This was a mess. I can't.